Hello there, welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm going to show you how I did this acrylic painting and share some of the tips and techniques I used for the same. Anyways, so let's get started. I sketched out the landscape roughly at first, just very faint outlines, and then moved on to painting the sky. The brush is wetter in the beginning and I am simply blocking in the shape at first, before getting in the correct color value with a number 11 flat brush. Here the paintbrush barely has any water. The colors I am using comprise of small quantities of Prussian blue, cobalt and an increasing quantity of titanium white as I move downwards. Now the clouds. Same again, first blocking in the shape with diluted colors, then slowly doing in the details with a more concentrated white. Remember, the clouds need to be fluffy and no rough edges. So when you do a cloud, roll out the ends of the brush to give it soft, smudged edges. After the sky, I filled in the distant mountains, very roughly, and the valley as well. And now I'm proceeding to do some of the details. To throw in the light in some places, preferably use two brushes, say a number 4 flat brush loaded with a blend of pale yellow and white, mostly on the dry side, to paint in the details in areas, and another soft brush to smudge and blend the paint in. I did the same thing on the valley on the left side, added in some textures that make it look as if the vale is filled with tea bushes, tea plantations in the distance, and then I'm adding in some distant trees and hence some shadows to make it look more natural. When satisfied with the background, I'm adding in more elements closer to our perspective. Okay, so now for these tiny specks of faraway mountain trees. Take a round brush with a very small tip, say 2x0, keep it a bit wet, load it with a mixture of Prussian blue and a very small amount of burnt umber, and simply add in horizontal strokes while moving down. Once the paint dries, add in another layer of the same color using a dry brush. I decided to complete this part later on and proceeded onto the foreground before that. Similar techniques as mentioned before. Add in shades of sap green mixed with burnt umber and pale yellow, changing the proportions as needed, and then paint in the darker parts, the shadows. Just paint loosely, let the brush do its work, and simply enjoy the painting process. With the darker areas blocked in, put in the lighter details, flatten out the tips of your brush, and take advantage of the shape of your brush in the process. Add in more elements to your painting to give it a more interesting look, maybe a couple of trees or so. But do not add in too many. Space plays an important role in pulling out the atmosphere of a painting and drawing one's eyes to the details that you want highlighted. I decided to put in a narrow river at the valley's crest, a rocky riverbed, and shallow water gurgling through. While we can't travel during these times to visit the mountains, with our imagination and simple flow of the brush, we can bring the mountains home, if you know what I mean. Painting is a very relaxing process, probably as relaxing and refreshing as quietly sitting somewhere in the mountains and just taking in the majesty of your surroundings, from the blade of grass you are pulling at to the elevated peaks, listening to the lilting sounds of nature in all its glory around you, and asking your mind philosophical questions while encompassed by the supreme beauty of the mountains. Coming to the foremost layer, as again, first I'm painting in the darker shades with a flat brush. Then painting over the same with lighter colors. To get in proper textures, use a variety of brushes. For instance, take an old worn-out brush or a bristle brush and simply push in the colors after flattening out the ends of the brush. You can cut out some old brush tips to get a desired shape and use the same. So you can see many techniques can be used here. Just take your own freedom to do the same. As you come closer down, put in some grasses with the fan brush and some individual grass strokes with round brushes with very thin tips. Alternate between pulling out and pushing in the strokes so as to create a natural randomness. I decided to throw in a few random wild plants in the foreground just to add in something more to the painting and to give a sense that the perspective or the viewer is someone standing in the nearer slopes to the right. Well then, with that, I leave you to enjoy the rest of the painting process without much more commentary from my side. And with that, here's my completed painting. I think I'll do some more detailing later on with oil paint, but this is it for now. So did you like it? Let me know in the comments. Tell me how I could have improved. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful, please do leave a like, share and subscribe. And do share your questions if you have any. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.